There's two things I learned this weekend. One is that I forgot to file my taxes, and two is that Half-Life Anti-Climax isn't about Gordon jorking his peanuts in the test chamber. This is Half-Life Anti-Climax, made by Jesus and released in 2019. It's a short mod that presents a what-if situation, an alternate ending to Half-Life 1. Previously, I've covered mods like Invasion, Absolute Redemption, and Timeline. Yeah. And on each of these videos, I kept seeing the name Anti-Climax popping up. I absolutely love playing mods that showcase a continuation of Half-Life 1's story in their own twisted way, so of course, I went into Anti-Climax expecting a lot of sick and twisted things. However, this mod does things a little more realistically. You see, at the end of Half-Life 1, you get to accept G-Man's offer and the game ends. If you don't accept his offer, he teleports us to what he calls a battle we cannot win, and the game ends there. What this mod does is further develop on the bad ending of the original game. But before I tell you about that, the mod replaces the default training maps with this long jump training, and this is how it went. Yeah, it was not a fun time. So the mod starts off at the very end of Half-Life 1, where G-Man and Gordon are in this train in the middle of Limbo, and G-Man presents his offer. Of course you can accept the offer and the mod ends right there. I'm surprised the mod didn't call me an idiot for doing this. But we have to intentionally choose the bad ending to start the mod. So rather than the screen fading to black here, we're able to move, and here begins our adventure. Depending on how the enemies moved in the beginning, especially those alien controllers, you'll either have the worst time ever or easily escape. Also, this layout kind of confused me. I kept looking around where to go or what to do, so it took me like 2 to 3 tries of this to figure out how I was supposed to clear this area. It isn't that it's difficult, but rather the constant fear of getting shot by controllers or the grunts projectiles is what makes it very tense. Along the way, I noticed that there were these little cages, and seeing how they had the little butterflies in them, I thought I'd let them free. Turns out you need to do this because at the end of this obstacle course, they power up this portal. Now, this portal changes colors every few seconds, and depending on the color, you land in different places. Like, I didn't know that, so I went in and found myself in the prison of Vortigaunts. I took out the controllers here, and at the end I found this weird ass room with 2 crystals in them. Seeing that there were 3 holograms, I got the idea that I need to find the 3rd crystal, which is missing. At this point, I had no idea about the portal, that it takes you to other places as well, so I spent like 20 minutes just running around this place trying to figure it out. By accident, I ran back into the portal and found myself in a different place with these floating Zen islands. Here we find a keycard, shoot some aliens, and do some platforming. It was cool. Then I tried the portal again and found myself back in Black Mesa. I do gotta say, however, how accurate and closely this resembles the original maps, but also adds on minor details to make it look even prettier. Here we run into G-Man again, who just acts petty and locks a door so we don't get the glue-on gun. Using the keycard we found earlier, we open this locked door that houses 2 teleportation machines, with one of them housing the missing crystal that we were looking for. Now, I managed to turn on the water pump so I can use the teleporter, and actually got the crystal to teleport away. But I swear, I spent like an hour trying to figure out how do I get myself out of this place. So either I bugged out the game, or the sequence broke, or I don't know, man. Because after the crystal is sent away, that teleporter stops working. The one that does work closes its doors as soon as you press the button, so there was no way for me to get inside it. After an hour, I just gave up and had to, and I'm sorry for doing this, I had to no-clip my way back to the crystal room in Zen. Back in Zen, the crystals are put in place, and when you move the handle, it opens up the jail cells, essentially freeing our now friendly Vortigaunt friends. Not gonna lie, this was cool to see given the lore of the franchise. With them backing us up, we charge back at the army of alien grunts that once posed a threat. With the help of our slimy green friends, we take out the grunts, ending the mod. The ending itself is one of the more bleaker ones I've seen in a mod, honestly. Usually it's Gordon triumphing over evil and coming out on top, but here, the G-Man is fed up with our shenanigans and just locks our ass up in this container for all eternity.
Mr. Freeman, I admit I have a fascination with those who adapt and survive against all odds. They rather remind me of myself. If for no other reason, I have argued to preserve you for a time. My employers are not quite so trusting, and rather than continually subject you to the irresistible human temptation of telling all, we have decided to convey you somewhere you can do no possible harm, and where no harm can come to you. I'm sure you can imagine there are worse alternatives.
It's overtly eerie and scary given the context. But then I learned, this is the bad ending. To get the good ending, you need to make sure that a majority of the Vortigaunts survive in the final battle with the Grunts, and when you do that, you get the good ending.
We'll see about that.
Gordon! Man, am I glad to see you.
Gordon, you're alive. Thank God for that hazard suit.
Freeman, who would have thought you'd still be alive?
Jeez, and I thought I had a long night. You look like hell.
Oh, thank God you made it.
I would really like a cold one right now. About that beer I owed you.
I'ma be honest, it was quite charming to see that Gordon finally got the beer that Barney owed him. Also the fact that this takes place right after Blue Shift, you know, with the whole squad there with Barney. That's a great touch. And yeah, that's the end of Anti-Climax. For a short mod that takes like 30 minutes to complete, this is a pretty neat little experience. It has very nice looking maps, albeit sometimes confusing or difficult, but the overall journey between Zen and Black Mesa and the whole story and context is pulled off quite nicely. Definitely check this one out, link is gonna be in the description. Who knows, maybe it'll fix your anticlimactic behavior. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks and shout out goes to these beautiful benefactors. I'll see you in the next one.